Happy New Year. You hear a lot of that these days, but you know what? It's easier said than done. It is a new year, but there's nothing to indicate that most Americans are happy. There's a sense of unease in our country. Also, surveys and statistics show that. A sense of unrest, of not knowing what to expect in this year of 2018. I really felt this when I read the Washington Post last Friday, and I saved it. There were 3 articles on the op-ed page. One by Joe Scarborough called "A Storm is Gathering." One from Fareed Zakaria, "The U.S. Decline Under Trump." And one by Jennifer Rubin, "How to Remain Sane in 2018." How do you remain sane in a country that is so divided? Sure, I read this in the Washington Post. Had I watched Fox News, I would have heard something completely different. And that's part of the problem. The country is so divided at a time when, who knows what, a time when world leaders are debating who has a bigger nuclear button. So we're concerned, we're anxious, we're wondering. That's what I'm here for, to make all of you feel better. And all you have to do is pay attention to this week's Torah portion. If you think we're going through challenging times, look at what the Jewish people had to undergo when they were living in Egypt, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Vayakam Melech Chadash, a new king arose, and all of a sudden, the Jews who had been living on top of the world, their world came tumbling down with slavery and death to all of the male children. And you know what happened? People despaired. And there was a man named Amram, who was a leader of the Jewish people. And he and his wife decided, why bring children into this world if they're only going to be killed by Pharaoh? And they separated from each other. No more children. And all of the Jewish families felt the same way. But there was this one little girl named Miriam. And Miriam wasn't afraid to say what was on her mind. And she spoke to her father and said, if you stop having children, then Pharaoh is victorious and the Jewish people are going to disappear. Don't give in to despair. And so he and his wife decided to continue having children, and one of those children was a man named Moshe, who was the redeemer of the Jewish people. But it wasn't just he and his wife who had faith. All of the Jews decided to have faith, and the women prettied themselves and enticed and seduced their husbands to keep on making love and to keep on having children, to keep the faith. And you know what? That's why at the Pesach Seder, when we eat the charoset, it's made with apples. Oh, you didn't know that? You thought it's made with apples to remind us of the mortar that the Jews had to use in their enslavement in Egypt. But me and Rabbi Akiva see it differently. Rabbi Akiva in the Talmud says that the reason why we have the apple in the charoset is because, based on a verse in the Song of Songs, the Jews in Egypt made love under the apple trees and had more children. And so at the Pesach Seder, when we are eating the maror, the bitterness, we're reminded of the sweetness of love and the power of positive thinking. So it's a new year. Think positive. And as we used to say in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, make love and not war. And let it really be a happy new year.